Thrilled, Miss Pendry.
The Raven's heir. Soon as one of them's caught, another one takes his place. Hey, Harold, have you read this? Harold? Harold? Harold, you hear me? This is no time for fun and games.
Shh! Calm down. I'm a copper. We're on the same side.
A copper? What are you doing here? And where's Harold?
Harold? Well, there's another guard back there unconscious. That's probably him. The Eye of the Sphinx. Where is it?
It's there.
Oh, good. Then he hasn't got it yet.
You mean the Raven's heir?
Shh! Turn it off. He's gonna steal the eye.
But how do you know?
Doesn't matter. All that matters is that we catch him. Do you understand?
Yeah, but
Do you understand? You and me, mate. We'll be heroes. All right, now, we just have to...
what?
Halt! Stop! You're under arrest!
I don't have time to play. I'm on duty.
Haha, you're funny. But you don't look like a real cop. You don't even have a revolver.
Why do you need the gun?
It's the Raven. He was gunned down, so now I need a pistol.
Dead birds don't need guns. Nor do live ones.
You don't know who the Raven is, do you? He's the greatest burglar ever. He stole paintings from the Louvre, and those priceless eggs with gold and diamonds and stuff. And Bobby Dobbs says he replaced the crown jewels with rhinestones.
I know who the Raven was. Although, I don't quite buy that bit about the crown jewels. You do know these days there are thieves far more dangerous than your old Raven. 2 days ago, a precious ruby was stolen from the British Museum. There was an explosion. A guard was severely injured.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what the papers say?
You talk too much, Constable.
Zellner, monsieur. Anton Jakob Zellner.
Or did he pull a gun on you?
No, monsieur.
Get a move on.
Inspector Legrand, it's a great honor to work with a celebrity like you.
We appreciate the support of the Swiss police, but it'd be better if you'd remain seated and keep an eye on things.
But, monsieur, surely I can be of assistance, somehow. I saw a safe being loaded.
We have everything under control. If you'll excuse me, I'll be in the first freight car at the back of the train for the rest of the trip.
I'm not here to enjoy the beautiful scenery. I am a good observer, and I have finally honed powers of deduction.
Thanks to that?
I watched the people on the platform in Zurich. I know, for example, that that man over there is a violinist.
That would be more impressive if there weren't a violin case next to him.
And I believe that the gentleman in the next carriage is a German doctor on his way to Italy to take up a new position.
And what gives you that idea?
There's the rod of Asclepius engraved on his cufflink. And he's carrying a German-Italian dictionary.
Maybe he's just taking a holiday in Italy, following in Goethe's footsteps.
Too much luggage. And no, he's not retiring to Italy either. The suitcases are too shabby for me to believe that he can afford to retire in his late 50s.
All right then, Constable...
Zellner.
Constable Zellner. If you're such a clever fellow, what am I doing on this train?
I think we can rule out that you're on holiday.
I don't have time for fun and games. So?
I think you're looking for someone.
You're just guessing. If I were looking for someone, I wouldn't spend the trip cooped up in a freight car, now would I?
Well, that would seem to indicate that you're guarding something.
And what might it be?
Could it possibly be a jewel that's making a long and perilous journey?
You're guessing. You can't possibly know what's inside the safe.
But if that were the case...
Then I'd ask you why the train wasn't crawling with police.
There are enough police on this train as it is. If there were more, they'd only get in each other's way.
I can assure you that I'd pack every seat in every carriage of this train with police, if it were a matter of deterrence.
You're saying you don't want to scare off potential thieves? Ah, you're laying a trap.
That would explain why it's just me, and not the army, n'est-ce pas? All the same, I can't comment on your speculation. Your deductive powers leave much to be desired. I think we'll get along fine. without you.
You won't.
Won't? Pardonnez-moi.
I can help, and I will help. You're in my country, and I've been ordered to assist you. And that's exactly what I'll do, whether you like it or not.
Not so bright, but stubborn. Your commitment speaks volumes, Zarna. But this is my show, and I don't need you. Bon voyage.
But how do you know? Oh, hello.
You cheated.
I did what?
I saw you talking to the German doctor on the platform. He told you everything himself, and you were just pretending to put two and two together.
And what of it? Do you know who that is? That's Inspector Nicholas Legrand. You have to impress him if you want to work with him.
I'm going to tell on you.
You'd really tell on me? To the very policeman who shot your dear Raven?
Whoa! It was him?
Mm-hmm. Hunted and killed Europe's most famous burglar. That's how he got his start.
I won't tell him a thing.
I wouldn't either. What's your name again?
Matthew Miller, from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania.
All right, Matthew Miller from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. I have to do my work now.
Everyone calls me Matt. Well, except for my mom. She calls me Maddie, as if I were a little kid.
Whether Legrand wants my help or not, I'll keep my eyes open. Maybe I can change his mind. This morning, I thought I wouldn't be hungry because of all the excitement. Thankfully, I... wrap the apple core in the sandwich paper. That way I can carry it without making a mess of my trouser pocket. Still, I'd prefer not to have to carry them all day. Napkin came with a croissant I bought at the train station. A guilty pleasure. I don't need that either. Every table has its own wastebasket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat.
Cylinder's table. Alright.
Every table has its own waste basket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat. Every table has its own...
You could have just left the trash on the fucking table,
All right.
dude. This guy, I swear.
We Swiss are crazy about trains. We don't just have a lot of railroads. We have the most beautiful ones in the world.
Tooting your own horn, buddy.
We Swiss are crazy about trains. We don't just have a lot of railroads. We have the most beautiful ones in the world. We Swiss are crazy. We don't...
Would you be so kind as to close the window? I don't want to sit in the draught.
Oh, pardon me. This is the first car. The coal tender should be directly beyond this door, and in front of it, the engine.
Okay, so we're at the very front of the train.
The violinist is a good-looking fellow, and he's traveling through the most beautiful mountain landscape in the world. But one can only hope that his violin is better tuned than he. The violinist is a good-looking fellow.
I'm gonna step away
and
from
one
the
can...
situation.
Very kind of you. Thanks. Oh, pardon me.
No problem. The uniform is waterproof. Mr.
Lucio. Professor Edgar Lucio.
Oh,
Excuse me.
a professor. Are you a scientist?
No, I work at the British Museum.
You don't say.
Play it cool.
May I ask where you are going?
Of course. To Venice. I'm going to meet some colleagues there.
Oh, Venice. A beautiful city.
Why is
So
he
I'm told.
asking so many
Indeed.
questions?
But
Mystery hasn't
I
even
really
fucking
have to take my
started
leave now.
yet. Like somebody was murdered.
If you work in the British Museum, then you must have experienced the burglary firsthand.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, no?
There was a lot of commotion, but I didn't really pay much attention to it.
There was a break-in in your museum, and it didn't concern you?
Well, let's just say that nothing that's happened in the last 2,000 years concerns me.
Inspector Legrand. See what he thinks about that person. There we go.
Whatever you say. The famous Inspector Legrand is on this train. I imagine you know him.
No, should I?
You don't know him? And you also don't know what...
No.
Just a thought. You're a representative of the British Museum?
I'm sorry. I don't know what you're trying to imply. And now, please excuse me.
Just one more thing. Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Here, on the train. No, although I did spend most of the time in my compartment.
I don't want to take up any more, but you do understand, don't you, that what concerns me is the present, and especially the robbery
Sometimes it
at the
kinda sounds
museum.
like Liam
Yeah,
Neeson
of course.
taking
It's just,
or something.
I'm in rather a hurry.
You'll get in touch if you notice anything unusual, won't you, Professor?
Of course.
Kind of has like a Liam Neeson twang to it.
What's this?
What's the matter, sir?
The door. I can't open it.
Ah,
It's locked.
we'll sort it out somehow. The compartment is locked.
But I didn't lock it. I don't even have a key. I asked the steward. He was going to bring me one, but he never came back.
Someone locked it.
Find the steward. He needs to bring me the key immediately.
Calm down, Professor. I'll see what I can do.
You don't understand. I have to get back in my compartment.
All right, just wait here.
Something's fishy.
You can easily lock the compartment door from inside by turning a little knob.
But I didn't lock it.
Professor, if you had locked the door from in there, you wouldn't be out here.
That's true.
Perhaps a thoughtful conductor noticed that Professor Lucien wasn't in his compartment and locked it. The little label on the door reads...
Yes, what is it? Whoever that is, James, ask them whether they found my purse and then closed the door. The noise on this train is driving me.
If I might ask you a few questions.
I thought, James, tell
The Baroness wishes that you search
But... You're missing a...
at the very least.
it was stolen.
When was the last time the Baroness saw...
What?
In Zurich, on the...
I just asked where
Are
you
you
last
fucking-
saw...
In Zurich on the platform.
Yeah.
The Baroness
A long
says
time ago.
Maybe you
dumb
lost it
bitch.
there.
What?
the Baroness never loses anything,
Oh.
sir.
I never lose anything.
No, you
Very well
lost
then.
it Now
I
it
shall
got
be on the
stolen, it's
lookout
still
for your
lost.
purse. I will have a...
Thank you.
He doesn't make a very balanced impression. And he, of all people, isn't bothered by a...
Maybe he doesn't own the museum.
I don't believe it. I never thought I'd ever meet you.
Pardon me, but we'd prefer...
It's all right, Miss Miller. I'd like to speak to the inspector.
Unfortunately, just a constable, Lady Westmacott. I'm reading The Vicarage in the Mirror right now, for the 5th time at least.
That's nice, Constable...
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner.
This is my companion, Miss Miller.
A pleasure. A passenger's purse has gone missing. I suppose you haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, Constable Zellner. As you know, I only deal with murder, not burglary.
Have you asked my boy yet? Maddie is good at finding things.
I'll go and do that now. As a writer, you must be very observant. Am I right? I mean, you have to study the behavior of people around you to create the characters in your novels, don't you?
I solved the mystery of human nature a long time ago, Mr. Zellner. Since then, most people just bore me.
Really? I had the impression you were eyeing me suspiciously as I came in.
What do you want to know, Constable?
Did you notice
The
the man who just
archaeologist.
walked into the next carriage with a cup of tea?
I did. He seemed nervous. He was waiting at the bar for the steward, and since the steward never appeared, he elected to help himself. He took 2 biscuits.
He seems pretty young,
2?
but he's
Oh,
already
no.
a professor at the British Museum.
Fucking cookies.
Interesting. I'll have to talk to him later. Just out of courtesy, of course.
Of course.
The violinist.
Did you notice the blonde man with the violin case?
I certainly certainly did. He introduced himself and tried to make a good impression. People like him are drawn to wealth and fame like moths to a flame.
But his charms failed on you.
I know him by name. David Kreutzer. He was a drain on my friend's purse.
Do you think he has a money problem?
People like him always have a money problem. No matter how much you give them, they always spend twice as much and complain that they have far too little.
They spend it all on drugs. Fucking snorting marijuana leaves. Snorting that marijuana.
Did you notice anyone else? What about the doctor or the Baroness?
I notice that you've asked me about everyone, except for the inspector who went in the direction of the freight car a few minutes ago. Isn't that the Frenchman who made his name when he caught the Raven?
I wouldn't quite say caught.
Well, shot. Why don't you ask me about him and my theory about what he's doing here?
I don't think we should discuss Inspector Legrand's investigation in public.
Snuff the Raven.
Legrand, right. That was his name. Will you save the day again? Or will you, Constable?
Ugh. What is she doing here?
May I ask what you're doing here? Are you on holiday?
Holiday? Yes, so to speak. The first and last holiday of my life.
Madam?
Oh, I thought it meant she as in the girls to the left.
It became my job, and now I've stopped.
Whatever.
So, this must be a holiday.
You quit writing? Impossible. I have all of your books. Your Detective Partout is my favorite character.
Then I have bad news for you. I killed the old wretch off years ago.
I don't understand.
I'd rather not discuss my work, Constable.
Oh, well, fine.
She's just killing him off. I mean, it's fucking... kind of feel like I should say goodbye, but I mean, like, it's a video game. It's not like it's gonna affect me.
Are you traveling to Istanbul, Lady Westmacott?
You know?
No, we are on our way to Venice. From there, we will take a ship to Cairo. As you may know, I have a penchant for archaeology. I fund a few excavations in Egypt. I traveled to Egypt by ship as a young woman. And now I'm doing it again as an old woman.
I see. As much as I'd like to keep talking, duty calls.
You were right.
Madam?
I did observe you as you came in. You seemed so... eager.
It's been a long time since I've had a chance to prove myself, madam.
And this is it? Your chance?
I do hope so.
Then grab it. Even small people can make big changes, as my friend Ronald likes to say.
I shall do my best.
Martini, shaken not stirred.
Butterscotch. I've loved them since I was a child. Their only drawback, they don't play nice with false teeth. Who'd have thought that one day butterscotch would remind me of my age and of all the things I had to leave behind?
Is that why old people like butterscotch? Because it's like a old-timey candy? Alright, so... no. Pills? Where the fuck am I getting pills from?
Pills for my heart. I'm supposed to
my
take one if I have
heart.
trouble. My daughter insisted that I take them with me. She was strongly against this little adventure, but I wasn't about to change my mind.
Or they're probably like nitro pills for chest pain. martini
I suppose
shaken
the
on
steward
that.
won't object to me having a look around in his absence.
Where's...
The pad on which the steward writes empty. Maybe he didn't use it because there's not much to do today. I don't need the pad, but the...
A fucking kleptomaniac.
Perhaps he keeps the compartment locked.
This state becoming a klepto for no fucking reason for a supposed robbery that he's allegedly investigating on a fucking train that's so far away that has nothing to do with it. Oh. I mean, sure there might be a connection with those archaeology people, but still. Oh my god, dude, this dude's
a
crazy.
shortwave radio. It's amazing how small these things have become. I made the acquaintance of Dr. Gebhardt on the platform in Zurich.
I'll come back to him later. How could you trustworthy?
The ladder leads up to the roof. It will be suicidal to climb up there while the train is at full speed. The wind, tunnels... No, I'll stay down here.
Chasing at the end of the day.
A box with a padlock. I suppose it contains tools for the train's crew, maybe for coupling and uncoupling the... At any rate, it's positioned so that it's easier to reach from the ground than from up here. I strongly suspect that the... No, it's open.
Oh, shit. So am I aged?
Wow.
Don't move a muscle, you feathered fiend.
Put the gun down, Robert. If I may introduce Constable Robert Oliver from the yard. This is the revered Constable Scott Yard of the Swiss police, who obviously couldn't control his curiosity.
I hope you'll acknowledge that I, as a Swiss policeman, can undertake investigations in my own country.
Are we still in Switzerland?
I could be your eyes on the train, as long as you're here in the freight car.
Oh, really?
I mean, I knew it was a trap, so let's just go to trap. There we go.
Then I was right. You really do want to lure someone into a trap.
That's none of your business.
I was right.
Perhaps that someone recently struck in London.
And how would I bait my trap then?
With something inside the safe?
Someone hasn't done his homework.
What do you know of this Raven's heir?
He tried to blow me up.
Robert, we don't know who we're dealing with yet.
In any event, the new Raven is a more dangerous man than the old one.
How do you know it's a man? You could just as easily be a woman.
Oh, shit.
Or several men.
And anyway,
Or
how do you know
several
that it's a
women.
new Raven?
Monsieur?
Never mind.
There is a certain Professor Lucien on the train. He's an archaeologist from London.
And what's his story?
Well, it seems someone locked him out of his compartment.
Locked him out?
Well, yes. The door is locked and he's standing outside without a key.
Was it locked from inside?
It may have been. Do you think the locked door could be important?
Professor Lucien plays an important role in this story. Well then, Constable Zellner, be my eyes and ears on the train and see that Professor Lucien gets back into his compartment. Report back to me when you're through.
My pleasure, monsieur. And then there's the Baroness. She's missing her purse.
Baroness von Trebitz. Interesting.
Indeed, sir.
But it has nothing to do.
So I shouldn't concern myself with the matter.
Why not? It's your job as a policeman. But don't expect me to be particular.
I go attend to the door now.
And, Constable Zellner?
Yes?
Don't bother us, unless you have something.
Of course. A thief might get anxious if there's too much activity in the freight car.
Exactement. Knock twice. Then we'll know that it's you.
Understood.
Go just brown closer. Like, hey yo. Hey yo. Just knock twice.
An investigation on behalf of the Grand that takes me
But,
one
you know,
step closer. If I can convince him of my competence, I might even be able to see this case through to the end.
Because the robber was outside. Basically heard him yelling. You know, what do I know?
Mr.
Zellner.
Right.
Do you know where the conductor is?
I'd like to know that myself. I told him to search for my missing suitcase in Zurich. He hasn't got back to me yet. He's probably in cahoots with the thieves. And didn't bother getting back on the train. If we don't crack down on vermin like them, the rabble will...
Well, at the moment, we still don't...
He's not here doing his job. That's bad enough.
Tell me, did you notice anything suspicious here on the train or in Zurich?
You mean, except for the fact that my suitcase was stolen on the platform? No. Is there any reason to be concerned?
No. Just routine.
Constable Zellner, please don't think I'm
That's all I'm
naive.
thinking.
I spotted the inspector from
Surely
his
it
car.
doesn't.
Legrand is his name, if I recall correctly.
Legrand.
If you say so. At the train station in Zurich, he put a cash box into the safe. Don't tell me that a man at his pay grade routinely tramps across the Alps just to keep an eye on cash boxes.
A cash box? Like the ones you'd find in safe deposit boxes?
Precisely. And I believe we both have a good idea just what's inside.
I meant to ask, the Baroness is missing her purse.
A Baroness? This train is really full of the creme de la creme. The Queen of Crime is over there, and now a Baroness as well.
Have you seen the purse?
Unfortunately, no. Do you know Lady Westmacott? You were talking to her?
Well, I'm an admirer of her work.
Like so many others. I once read in the newspaper that only Shakespeare and the Bible sell more copies than her crime novels.
I read that too.
She must be filthy rich. As a doctor, I'd have to work 1,000 years to earn that kind of money.
The cash box in the safe. What do you think it contains?
A ruby was stolen in London. One of the legendary Eyes of the Sphinx. The second jewel, an
This
emerald,
guy is such
is
a
rumored to be
shitty
in a
detective.
Swiss
Why
bank
is he
vault,
blurting
if
out the
I remember
answers?
correctly. Both jewels were supposed to be exhibited together in Cairo for the first time in 50 years. It does make one wonder.
Way to be nonchalant.
Indeed. Any news about the robbery in London?
Quite something, wasn't it? It must have been professionals. The way they disabled one of the best security systems in the world. Most impressive.
People were injured.
Well, one cannot execute a robbery of that scale without collateral damage. It seems like the Raven has finally found a worthy successor. We can look forward to new and spectacular coups.
I'm afraid I won't enjoy his exploits this time around if the new Raven is so reckless.
That's your prerogative.
May I borrow your newspaper?
You can take the section with the article on the burglary. You're interested in that bit, aren't you?
No, I want the sports section.
Here you go.
Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen, Dr. Gebhardt.
Goodbye, Constable. It was a pleasant chat, really.
Luna's Drops, the calming herbal liqueur for women. A glass a day, it relaxes the nerves and maintains domestic tranquility. Luna's Drops, if you don't want to bother your husband.
Oh, so when women got manic, quote unquote, you can't see if I'm doing the air quotes, they had these vibrators. Look it up. It's history. It's medical history.
A story about the upcoming Oscars and Cleopatra's chances of winning. An incredible feat. They built the largest movie set of all time in Rome. And because of the main actress's many illnesses, several changes of director, months of delays, cost shot to over $14 million. The most expensive movie ever made. A record never... John Surtees won the Formula One World Championship for the first time on Saturday. He also won the World Championship in motorcycle racing from 1956 to 1960, making him the only man in motorsports to win World Championships in both motorcycle and Formula One events. Not really my cup of tea. Too loud, too fast, too much exhaust.
Yeah, I didn't even want to read the part about the robbery. Screw that. I'll take a glance at it though.
Let's see if there's any news. Blah, 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 blah. Eye of the Sphinx. One of two priceless jewels. Extraordinary pure ruby. 2000 BC, etc., etc. Old news. And here, shocking burglary. Professional thieves surprised by museum guard Charles Langley and Constable Robert Oliver of Scotland Yard. Explosion. Constable Robert Oliver from Scotland Yard. He was there when the first eye was stolen. Now he's guarding the second one.
Okay. So I read what I needed to. Now, to only figure out what to do. I know this dude seems a little sus, but I don't think it's him.
Mrs. Miller made a good impression, but she does seem a little nervous and tense. I imagine she has her work cut out for her with Matt, and a...
Well, next episode, probably won't be playing this game anymore.